And I wanted to find a way that I could start to control it because they were so out of the blue for me. I was like, okay, well, I really need to find a way to control this state. All right, so if I'm entering sleep paralysis naturally, how do I actually control it and get there when I desire to do it? And so through the years, really, I've developed my personal method that I use for myself, which is to pretty much when I choose to leave my body every single night. And it's yeah, that's how it started, really.
I wanted to ask you about the sleep paralysis because you reminded me, I used to get sleep paralysis a lot when I was a kid. I've never talked to anyone about this actually. The And it was pretty regular, but I don't remember anything. It usually came after some sort of nightmarish dream, usually. But there was this, and being completely frozen, but there wasn't really anything that would come over that. I'd come after that. I remember it feeling rather terrifying, and that was, I don't know whether it was from because of the dream or the paralysis, or perhaps both of them. And then I'd just have to lay there and then wait, and then it would eventually would fade. Is that always, do you think for people who want to have a controlled out of body experience that their sleep paralysis is a pretty necessary part of that, or is just that's just how things evolve for you?
No, the sleep paralysis is the most important part. That's what people miss, right? So the when you're in sleep paralysis, what I failed to miss in the beginning of it is that's the gateway to access the other side. When without going, having a near death. Now the out of body and near death are one and the same thing because an out of body is a controlled near death, right? In terms of exiting the body. Now when you're in sleep paralysis, there is a temporary window, right? So like if someone like you've as a kid, you're in sleep paralysis. Now what happens if you do nothing, and if you don't know what to do, then that eventually subsides and you wake back up, right? So like that sensation of like, oh, like the body feeling like it's dying, it does subside and then you wake back up. Now, in that brief window, if you do certain things right of pushing yourself out, right, you'll leave every single time. The sleep paralysis is one of the hardest parts to get to if you don't do it naturally, right? But it's the hardest places to get when you want to control it and do it at will. But people that get there naturally, it's just getting rid of the fear, understanding where you're at, and every single time without missing it. If you do things correctly, you'll leave the body. Yeah.
Oh, that's encouraging because I've spent a lot of time and I had one successful out of body experience, and it was almost like I just happened to catch the fact that I just woken up, and I just happened to have the, because I'd been like, okay, when I go to sleep, remember when you go to sleep, the method that I used was the Russian fellow where you like stand in front of the bathroom mirror. Anyway, that was what I was thinking about. So when I woke up, and I happened to have sleep paralysis at the time, and I'd just woken up, and I thought about doing what I did, and then it was like an instant. It wasn't even there wasn't any sort of transitory period. It was like one moment I knew I was laying in the bed, and the next thing I was standing in front of the mirror, which is, I can't believe they actually managed to pull this off. So it's interesting, but I haven't been successful ever since, and that was like 2 years ago. So it's interesting that I think I haven't paid enough attention to the sleep paralysis aspect of things.
I've had many well, friends of mine and also people that I'm speaking to and helping
Mm.
like do this as well. You know, it when you do it for the first time, it's sort of like it's a shock, it's a rush. It's like when you leave the body and you're actually leaving your body and you turn around and you see yourself sleeping on the bed again and you look at yourself and you're still physical. It's a big rush and typically it's fear, anxiety, or just like, holy shit, I've done it. Those high-end emotions that you feel, if it's when you just leave, if you have a lot of anxiety, excitement, just when you leave the body, you get sucked back in because it wakes the body back up. So it's like you have to learn how to control those those emotions when you're coming out because when you create like a distance within the body, like when you're out for and then you create distance and then you're out for like let's say 30 seconds. At that point, you could do whatever you want. You won't get pulled back in because there still is a slight magnetic pull back to the body as you're just coming out. If you mess things up, you just get sucked back in as well. So
Yeah. Okay. Did you relate to Robert Monroe's book, which was Journeys Out of the Body, where his initial experiences with OBEs where they were happening against his will?
I've never read it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
never.
interesting. Yeah, it's the same. He spoke about that it wasn't something that he wanted to have happen, and he got to the similar point to what you mentioned, where he was just saying, I just wanted to stop, like just stop doing this. He thought he was going mad.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what it could feel like, right? So it's like when you're accessing the other side, the unseen becomes seen to you. That's pretty much everything. And there's a point in this that I've tried, and it's like a pointless endeavor, but I've tried to prove myself wrong, prove that I'm hallucinating, crazy, like all those things, like all those silly things. And then you start seeing things happening in real time. You know, you go over to your friend's house, you see them doing something in real time that you possibly couldn't know. You confirm it with them, they get freaked out. You know, when you start accessing the true nature of reality, the true universe where we are, some things people the reason why they want to convince themselves that what they're experiencing isn't true even though it is because a lot of things goes against a lot of people's current belief systems, right?
So, what's your understanding of what the out of body experience, astral travel, for want of a better word? I know that they're not terms that you're particularly fond of, but what's your understanding of what the phenomena is with what you've learned so far?
So when you're the dream and the astral are I'm just going to put them as one and the same thing. They're in the same category, really, because typically, all right, and this is typically when you are dreaming, most of the time, you're accessing your dimensional space, your field. So this is where you could get individuals when they're dreaming, they experience potential or can see potential time events. So this is where you get people when they're dreaming, they see if they have family members in their circle, right? And they're in their time event. They could see potential future time events or something that it's like, oh, I've seen the future. And then they wake up either a day later or a week later. They're like, wow, that actually did take place. Because when you're dreaming, it's your field. So you're able to tap into your thoughts, potential time events within your field, and also your fears and pleasures. Right. This is where you get the dreams where like you know you're running but you can't move, something's after you, you know, your fears are expressed there, so therefore you experience that and therefore your pleasures.
Mm.
The out of body state, the near death, right? OBE, near death, one and the same thing. When you're doing that, you're not just accessing your field, but you have access to your field, individual fields, the realm, dimensional spaces, and access to all things, right? So it's like the dream space is just a limited version of accessing more things that's available to you when you leave the body 100% and become fully conscious and aware there.
Okay.
Does that
So,
make sense?
yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
I think I'll keep diving into that because I want to get some more clarity about it.
Yeah.
So related to OBEs is I'll just keep talking from my own personal experience too, which I think is better for me. Um, so lucid dreams. So I became interested in lucid dreams around, I guess, 6 9 months ago, and I've had more success there. So, and what I mean by that is realizing being in a dream and then realizing, oh, I'm actually in a dream. I'm actually dreaming, and then getting sort of solidifying what I'm experiencing. I usually do that just by looking at the ground or trying to actually look closely at my hands, but looking at the ground seemed to work better. And then in the process of looking at the ground while I'm dreaming, things often change. And then it just becomes like realer than real at that point. So I'd realized that yes, I was dreaming and now I'm not, but I'm still asleep on the bed. So are they how does that happen? What's your understanding of that process where you go from dreaming to suddenly being lucid and being very aware?
Fully conscious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've done that myself. So when you're in a dream, let's just say, because you're not fully consciously there, that's why it's still fuzzy, right? But when you focus on something in a dream, which is accessing your field, you can become exactly what you said. You focus on one thing. I focused when I was doing it. I was in the living room, and I was focusing on a cup on the bench, and then that brought me right back in fully 100% there, because I don't know the exact reason why that happens. It's just I think because you're focusing so much, you're bringing your conscious fully there instead of just, you know,
Yeah,
wandering or
like a
just
little piece of it. Yeah,
yeah, like a little
yeah.
fragment here, like this is why when people are dreaming, they can't remember the details of things. But if people were dreaming in their dream space and they were to just stop and realize that they're dreaming and focus on one thing, they'll be fully pulled in,
Mm,
100% fully aware there. And at that point, if you know how to navigate that space, you could pop out of your dream field, your thought forms, etc., and actually have an out of body and access, like I said, things that are happening in real time within this realm, etc. But typically, people don't know that, and then they're just conscious within the dream, and they don't know that they could access more than just that field, that space. You know.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like I guess I've got a lot more to learn, obviously, which is great. I can learn this from you. The it's it's like the few times that it's occurred, I I couldn't put my finger on why was it that I suddenly realized that I was dreaming. It was like I had the intention of having a lucid dream when I went to sleep, but it maybe I just didn't do it often enough. But it didn't seem to matter too much. It was just like a few times I just had it just kind of like I almost woke up to the fact that I was dreaming, and then everything changed from there. But there didn't seem to be any sort of real rhyme or reason to it. Whether I'd had enough sleep or got enough sleep or was really thinking about it. It just seems to kind of happen a bit randomly. But is it? I guess with practice, can you actually more reliably, cause an OB or a lucid dream to occur?
Yeah, you could do it every single night if you wanted to, but I don't necessarily recommend. I mean, if you're dreaming is easy. That doesn't really do much in terms of this frying out effect. But I've noticed when I come out of my body 100% fully conscious, fully aware, when I started to do that every single night, I it sort of like fried out my central nervous system. That's the best way to say it. It's
Mm,
like my consciousness, my soul was fine, but my body was getting sluggish. You know what I mean? It's just like too much information to download into the computer. And I like to use this example. It's almost like the body's like a computer system, right? So let's say we have a computer, our body's a computer, so we all have access to the internet. But when if you're trying to download 5 terabytes worth of information into a computer that cannot hold that information, it bogs it down. You know what I mean? It's like all
yeah.
that information all at once bogs down the processing of the computer. That's sort of what it's like